with Zion Williamson after the All-Star break. What better draft to go over than Zion Williamson's? Because it's kind of an interesting draft. Because if you asked everyone 2 years ago who messed up, who made a mistake, well, it'd be like, Ja Morant maybe should have been the first overall pick. And now with Zion Williamson, if he can win a playoff series, which is something I don't think the Grizzlies have gotten past the first round yet, have they?
No, I don't
No.
think so.
And then Zion and Ja have both had injury issues. And then after that, it's like
RJ Barrett, who got traded to the Raptors, and he's been very inconsistent, has not lived up to expectations whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like redrafting those three. It's like, okay, would RJ Barrett be in the top three? Absolutely not, because I would take DeAndre Hunter over him, who ended up being dealt to who was traded to the Hawks after that. And then after first being traded to the Pelicans. And then at 5, friend of the show, Darius Garland.
Darius Garland would go 3 at this point. If this draft was going over again, he might even go 2 to the Grizzlies potentially, depending on where you slate him against Ja Morant.
Yeah, because like injury-wise, we could look back at this draft and be like, wow, Ja, that was cool, but he's kind of on the Derrick Rose trajectory at this point, and I hate to say it, where he plays so far above the rim, it's going to be tough for him to stay healthy. And then Darius Garland, he's not as good as Ja, but just as a point guard, very good NBA player and a lot more durable than Ja Morant. And what do they say? Availability is the best ability.
Yeah, exactly. So I think redraft today, I think Zion still goes number 1 though, just because what his upside can be and what we've seen the last 30 games or so.
Yeah.
I think he's got so much excitement there. I think he'd still go 1.
And then we're in the part of the NBA draft where I feel like the first round of the NBA draft, is it just me, or do we hit a point where we're like, what happened? Who are all these average guys that just are there to fill out rosters? And perfect example, Jarrett Culver.
I don't even know where he's playing anymore.
Yeah. And yeah, maybe I'm a casual. Call him a casual.
Call him a casual in the comments.
He can take it. And then the Bulls draft Kobe White.
It's pretty nice.
Does he spell it with a K? No. So
no,
doesn't pass the name test.
Hashtag not my Kobe.
Hashtag not my Kobe. And then we have the Hawks draft Jackson Hayes and trade him to the Pelicans. Jackson Hayes been a pretty good 3-and-D guy, pretty good defender there. So at number 8, that's okay. And then Wizards at number 9 draft Rui Hachimura. Oh, the Lakers savior last year in the playoffs.
The Lakers savior, yeah.
Guys, he can hit a 3.
He's a role player.
He's a role player.
He's a role player.
And we're in that player where all these players, like, these are good role players. And then Cameron Johnson.
He's okay.
PJ Washington.
He's a role player.
He's good.
A lot of role players.
He's good. But he was drafted by the Hornets, so who am I to judge?
Yeah.
And then after that, Tyler Hero. Congratulations to Tyler Hero. You were in a Jack Harlow song.
You had a song named after you.
You had a song named after you by Jack Harlow.
The one that hit me the most looked just like me. You tell me what that means.
Yeah, my dogs play Madden and 2K, but one thing you never do is play about me. Tyler Hero. You don't play.
True.
Unless when it's Madden or 2K. Yeah, he's probably the best player. He would probably go 5 in this draft if we were redrafting.
5 or 6, yeah.
I would say 5. I would say like Darius Garland at 3, and then yeah, probably 4 actually for Tyler Hero.
Yeah.
And then after that, Romeo Langford,
Bust.
Celtics. What were you?
Bust.
This is like the last of those Danny Ainge picks. We're like, what were you thinking?
Yeah.
You're like, we needed some shooting now. It's like, yeah, don't get Romeo Langford.
Yeah, well, guess what? We got Romeo Langford for, I think, Derek White. I think we got Derek White for him.
Oh.
So
well,
thanks, Danny Ainge.
Thanks, Danny Ainge. The one thing he did right. But Brad Stevens flipped him for Derek White.
Yes. Give credit to Brad Stevens.
Danny Ainge would be like, no, I promise he can get better,
not a second
guys.
not a second round pick.
He can get better. And then the Pistons draft Sekou Domboya.
Yep.
Great anime name. NBA. I don't know.
A+ name, D+ player.
D+ player. Pistons.
Pistons love drafting international players who don't pan out.
The Magic drafted Chuma Okeke.
Passes the
I
name
haven't
test.
really been following his career. Kevin Wildes and Magic Enthusiast. Maybe tune into Kevin Wilde's show. He could tell you more about Shuma Okiki. Go ahead and spam his X feed with that if you want, or Twitter, whatever you call it. And then, yeah,
That's it. The drafts.
there's Celtics at 22 draft Grant Williams.
Front of the show. Thickness himself.
Brandon Clark to the Grizzlies. He's a good player. He's a fine player.
Yeah.
Um,
What else we got?
Nasir Little.
Jordan Poole.
Jordan Poole at number 28 in this draft. I think Kevin Porter Jr.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
And then
we got number 31. We got Nick Claxton,
nice.
Carson Edwards, who I get Romeo Langford confused with on the Celtics.
Often, many people do.
And then after that, let's see if we have anyone out. Eric Pascal with the Warriors. That was just when they needed players to fill out their roster. We had
Oh.
Bol.
Bol, dude, I wanted Bol
Yeah.
so bad on the Celtics. He played for the
Oh.
Celtics for a minute, and then now he's the Sun legend.
Yeah, this was the last player in this draft I want to talk about. THT, Taylor Horton Tucker. No shade to THT at all. More shade to how stupid Lakers fans are. And it's
Yes.
almost on the same level as Boston Celtics fans. Or honestly, Celtics fans are probably the smartest of the New England sports fans, besides maybe Red Sox fans. Bruins fans are pretty realistic, but like it's on the same level as Patriots. They're like, we're gonna trade THT for Damian Lillard
Who?
or Donovan Mitchell or
Paul George.
Trey Young. They're like, what? Who's gonna take THT for anyone? And then you ended up giving him over to the Jazz for who? Who'd they trade him for?
Oh man, wasn't he? He wasn't a part of the Anthony Davis trade, so he was a part of the
Yeah.
Roy Hachimura trade, I think.
Yeah. Well, he ended up going to the Jazz, but it could have been a part of a 3-team deal.
I think
But
it
the
was.
main
he
takeaway
was
from
a part
that,
of the Russell Westbrook trade.
the Russell Westbrook trade. Yeah. The main takeaway though is you didn't trade him for a Hall of Famer.
Well, Russell Westbrook's a Hall of Famer.
Not that, Russ.
Not
That's
that
like
Russ.
trading for 36-year-old Ben Roethlisberger.
That was like trading for Russell Wilson Broncos.
yeah.
So
That's like trading for Jason Kidd on the Knicks.
that's like trading for Shaq on the Celtics.
Yeah.
Pretty bad.
yeah.
That's okay.
Okay.
All right, we
And
got our
then
jokes in.
we had Bol. And then Terrence Mann in that draft. Terrence Mann is doing some things.
He
But like
does do
the
stuff, yeah.
second round is honestly better than the first round in this draft, which is crazy. I'm not talking about the top 3 picks, but like there's some pretty solid players you get in the second round.
I want Bobo to still pan out. There's still faith for Bobo.
In this draft. No. Shout
That's
out
it.
to Vanja Marinkovic
Mr. Irrelevant.
for being the last pick in this draft.
Win for the Brock Purdy arc.
Waiting for that arc there. But yeah, that was the 2022 draft. So overall, do you think this is one of the worst drafts in NBA history? How would you rank it now that you've seen it again?
Well, I don't think it's the worst draft because the 2013 draft exists. That's a pretty terrible draft. Anthony Bennett, for those who forget. I think there's enough stars there that, like, you know, you have your Zions, you have your John Morants, Darius Garland, even some role players like Tyler Hero. Like if we're ranking it, like it's probably like middle of the pack,
Yeah.
right? Like of the last decade, it's probably middle of the pack. Zion has a chance to elevate. John Morant, he's going to be someone that people will remember in 10 years, 15 years. He's going to have his Derrick Rose arc. So I think it's a fine draft. It's definitely not the worst.
Yeah, it's definitely not the worst draft. I wouldn't say it's terrible. We had some fine role players here, like Grant Williams, Rui Hachimura, PJ Washington, pretty good player. And some of these role players will make an impact in your starting lineup or off the bench. But overall, that was the 2019 NBA draft. Let us know what you thought about it. Were there any role players that we missed, that were like so casual that we just don't follow the NBA enough? Because like I haven't seen too many of these other players on teams where I'm like, wow, in the playoffs, that was a great play by this guy. So if there's someone that we missed in this draft, please let us know who we missed out on. Who would you take number 1 overall? Are you taking Ja? Are you taking Darius Garland? Or is it still Zion Williamson with what he's about to do in this playoffs? Definitely let us know there.